Single people. Viewfinder. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Face new edge.
All right.
Top edge.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm not allowed to do lives yet. That's how new I am. So, if you are joining, this is my uploaded video because I can't do lives yet.
Face top edge.
That noise that you hear is my phone. So, before we get too far, let me just say, please, 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 pretty please with an ice cream and a cherry on top. What am I, 5? I know, right? Please like this video. Well, like this video, follow my channel, share, comment, do all the things that you have to do to make me popular. I want to be popular. I want to be one of the cool kids. So the noise that you hear, oh, it's not gonna do it. Yeah. There it goes. That's my technology. It's called VoiceOver. It comes on Apple devices. There are other screen readers on other devices, but this is the technology many of you already know if you're friends with me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. X. You already know. It's called a screen reader, and it reads, theoretically, everything on the screen. What it is doing when you hear it talking in this video is telling me, girl, you need to move. So watch. Boop, 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 boop. So earlier, it was telling me when I was center. Well, clearly I'm not center because I haven't heard center once yet. See? Just says top edge. Maybe I'm centered in the top. I don't know. It's not very clear. But whenever you hear it doing that, it's trying to say, hey, you, move. It will also tell me if my phone is level when I'm doing videos. It is not doing that now because I have you sitting on the bed frame, actually, of all things. But you guys know that I have started this channel to sort of like not just raise awareness about blindness, but also to like demonstrate the accessibility level or the willingness to, not willingness, but the accessibility or lack thereof of NASCAR specifically, but also other racing events. If you want to invite me, hint, hint. So I'm planning to go and see like different racetracks and different race shops, and like last year I did the NASCAR Hall of Fame just to see like what the level, like how accessible is it? Is it going to be fun? Is it, is there so much visual stuff that it's not worth going to for a blind person? Is it going to be one of those places where they'll let you touch anything and everything? Is it going to be like everything's off limits? No touching, no talking, no asking questions? Like, so far I've never seen that, but there are places like that. So this particular video, today we're going to do Richard Childress Racing. Sorry it took so long to get to that point, but it's in the title, so there you go. Richard Childress Racing is pretty interesting. It's a huge campus. Like, I don't know if it compares to Hendrick. I was at Hendrick last year. I don't know if it compares in size. I'm guessing not, but it's still pretty big. Like, I don't know how many buildings there were, but there's 2 or 3 other race shops also on that property. I don't remember what they are. Sorry. I know a colleague is one of them, but I don't remember the others. But I have been planning this tour since January, and silly me, it says close. Okay, well, anybody not from North Carolina, here's a little tip for you. Close could mean really far away. Like, could mean it's in another county. Might even mean another state. Oh, it's close, but it's in South Carolina. No. I didn't realize South Carolina wasn't that far away. But you get the idea. So I booked this tour. It's $55 if anybody is curious, but the amount of stuff you get, it's totally worth that. You'll see why when I get to that, but it's totally worth it. So I booked the tour and didn't consider the fact that I am in Huntersville. That place is in Welcome, or Lexington, as the Uber says. It's a $56 Uber ride. Well, actually, no. It was a $70-something Uber ride. It was $51 if you took Lyft. Needless to say, I took Lyft. So, if you are driving, you can save all that money, but not me. So my friend and I, we got up this morning at some terrible hour of the morning before the sun was even up, and we got ready and we got in the car. I am wearing my Kyle Busch shirt. This is what I call it. It looks like, okay, ladies, it's a checkered flag, right? It's a waving checkered flag. Guys, if you're like my dad, you're just seeing the grimacing faces. So, there's a closer up. This is a shirt. Sorry, I'm still in the thing. This is a shirt from my LuLaRoe days. Many of you know I used to sell LuLaRoe. A lot of you don't, but this is from my LuLaRoe days. I saw this and I loved it. I was like, checkered flag, that is mine. Sorry for those of you who love it, but I hate The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's creepy. I don't like creepy things. That's just me. I don't. So the faces are some character from that movie, but I honestly couldn't tell you what the character's name is. I call it my Kyle Busch shirt because I got it back in the day where he was the bad boy, and, so my mom was like, oh, your Kyle Busch shirt. He's the bad guy. That's your checkered flag. You're good to go. So I went with it. So this is my Kyle Busch shirt. And since he now races for Richard Childress, I figured, hey, I'm gonna wear it there. So here I am. Or there I was. So, if you go there, the email will tell you it's the first building on the campus that you go to. It's the museum and team store. It actually is true. They're not lying. But the Uber dude had no clue. He's like, I don't know where this place is. So he took us to, I believe the lady said it was the Xfinity shop. I think they're actually in the same building, but I couldn't quite figure that out when we were walking between. But it was not the museum or the store. So the lady, when we walked in, I do not know her name. I probably should have gotten it. So let me go backwards again. Anybody watching know what ableism is? I used to hate this word. It sounds stupid. It's not in the dictionary yet. I don't think, but it should be, because it's a thing. So everybody knows what racism is. Not too many people know what ableism is. So that is like discrimination against people with disabilities. It could be actions, could be words, it could be stuff that you, like, I don't know, I guess it could be thoughts too. I don't know if it extends that far, but it's behaviors, actions, words, things like that, that belittle or that harm disabled people in some way, or make them less than you. So if you see a blind person and you shout at them like, hello, how are you doing? That's kind of, in my opinion, that's a form of ableism, because I can hear you fine. Like, you don't have to yell at me. Sorry. That's my thinking motion. So it's things like that. It's talking to me like I'm 2. You know, the little baby voice. I can't do it right now because I'm going to
Take your top edge.
But it's the baby voice that you use when you talk to a toddler. So anything like that. It could be as simple as, wow, you look beautiful today. Now, that's a compliment, right? But a lot of people, they don't even realize they're doing this, but in their head, they're adding the preface, you look beautiful today, for a blind person. Like, that's what that means. Like, okay, well, thanks, but no thanks. So, that's the ableism discussion. You needed to know that to get to my review. Because overall, the shop is really, really awesome. Like, there's tons of things to see. The museum is huge. Okay? So that's why you need to know that to get to this part of the story. So our Uber, nice guy, drops us off there. And we walk into what I believe is the Xfinity shop. It's like the foyer area. And there's a lady sitting at a desk. I call it the welcome desk. I don't know what it's called. It's, you know, you go into a lobby and there's a desk. It's a welcome desk to me. So we walk up to this lady and she's like, well, you're in the wrong place. You should be at the museum. So she's like, can the guy who brought you take you there? Well, he couldn't because he was here and he was leaving. But also, I don't feel like that is his responsibility. I mean, he was nice. He probably would have done it. But, like, you're sitting at the desk with nothing to do. There's nobody here. There's nobody going to be walking in on you. Like, what are you doing exactly? I mean, I don't know. Maybe she had a really super important job and it would be detrimental to the entire future of the race team if she walked away from her desk. But I somehow doubt this. So I don't remember her words, but if you are working at a welcome desk, you need to be the most over-the-top friendly person ever. Like, drive me crazy with your peachiness in the morning, okay? If you're working at one of these type of places. She gave directions like it was hey, if I give them bad enough directions, maybe they'll give up and go home. That's the attitude that she had. Like, her words, her body language. Like, obviously, I can't really see her body language, but you could feel, like, I do not want to deal with these people. Why are there 2 of them? Like, I mean, 1 was bad enough, but now we have 2. So, like, she was saying to us without saying, you have no business being here, go home. That's the attitude that I got out of her. She did finally go and find someone because she's like, well, it's up there over the curve at the top of the road. That means nothing to me because I can't see the curve. And then she's like, well, we went over railroad tracks. No. Obviously there is because I heard a train later, but I didn't feel any railroad tracks. And I can't see them, so I can't say, oh yeah, sure, we did. No, I can't, you know? So she did finally find someone, which was, I guess, nice. He was incredibly nice. His name was Ryan. I do not remember his last name. Maybe I didn't ask for it. He was incredibly nice. Like, he explained that it is a little complicated, and he even said that he can't fill the train tracks either, which is, you know, they were paved over really well, apparently, because the train tracks in my town, you're like, So, yeah. Anyway. So he took us where we were supposed to be, and he actually walked us up to the desk where we signed in really well. I don't know for sure, but I think the guy that checked us in is the same person I talked to on the phone, which is pretty cool. His name is Josh. He's nice. I talked to him way early, like several weeks ago, to see if they could. So this, for blind people, if you want to go there, It is interesting, but definitely bring a sighted person if you want pictures. Because obviously they're not going to be doing that for you. I don't have a problem with the fact that they wouldn't take pictures for me. That's not their job. I have no expectation of that. But Josh said he wished that he could do something, but there just really wasn't anything for them to do. They wouldn't... Well, I'll talk about that later. But anyways, I think he's the guy that I spoke to on the phone. He was very nice. So we signed in. We got our breakfast. Yes, they feed you. And they said continental on the email, so I was thinking like cereal and donuts. There was donuts, but there was, you guys, like hot sausage biscuits. And I think the other one was ham. I don't know if that's what they always have, but it smelled good and it actually tasted pretty good. So, bonus of this tour, I don't know if he always does this, but he did say that he is now the museum curator. So, Chocolate Myers was our tour guide. Y'all, I want to sit with this man somewhere and have lunch. Like, can I just buy you lunch, dude? And I'll just sit quietly over here and you can just tell me all the stories, like all of them. Because he had so many. I just wanted to keep listening to them. It was time to move on to the next exhibit. And I'm like, no, tell us another story. That was fun. So I just want to sit and listen to him talk. He has lots of stories. He wanted me to ask questions, but I am not good on the spot. Like, I can't, like, if a question pops into my head, I'm sitting over here going, I have a question, but I can't do that in the middle of the spiel. Like, I want to wait till he's done talking and then ask the question, but then it's gone. Like, I lose it. It's not even in my head. So, like, when it's time for questions, I'm like, well, I have like 1.5 million, but go back in time and then I'll tell you. But there's a lot of interesting stuff just in the museum, and like I said, he's got great stories. So at some point in there, I believe we were in the race shops. I don't remember. Yeah, we were, I think, in the cup shop. I don't know which shop we were in. It was not the museum. It was either Xfinity or Cup. I'm going to assume it was Cup because he was showing us the new, the wheels, the one lug nut wheels and the pegs that they have to mount on. It is very interesting. I didn't know that the lug nut, spoiler alert, it's the same lug nut for the entire race. Like, the 6 lug nuts I have off of Trevor Bayne's Daytona 500 car, you couldn't get those now, because the 5, hello, Amy. The 5 lug nuts that I have off of his Daytona 500 car, couldn't get those nowadays, because 1, there's only 1 lug nut, and 2, unless something happens, it stays either with the car or with the gun that you take it off with. I didn't know that. That's fascinating to me. So I learned something new. Actually, I learned a lot of things new. Event. But Chocolate Myers, and his name was, I want to say it was Don. Yes, I believe that is what he said his name is. Probably wrong, sorry. But he and Chocolate let me touch the wheel, so I saw like the hole in the middle where the big lug nut goes through and all the little holes that they mount on the pegs. And then I looked on the other part that I can't remember what it's called ever, but the piece that you put the wheel on with the pegs that it mounts on. And it's pretty interesting. Like, I don't know how they miss that. But that was pretty cool. I'd never got to see those before, so. So that was cool. Then we left there and we went, yeah, I believe it was on the way there. It's all running together in my head. I can't remember when we did what. But we went to the, oh yes, it was after the museum. So we went, when we were leaving the museum, we were going to those race shops, the Cup and the Xfinity shops. So there's pit stop practice, which we were supposed to get to see as part of our tour. My friend and I, we missed it all because the lady in the gift shop, I don't know her name either. Probably should have gotten these people's names, but you know, it's me. I forget these things. So she said, I don't know, she was rather upset that there was nobody there to guide us. And in our defense, we assumed, and you know what they say about assuming, so we shouldn't have done this, but we assumed that, I believe his name was Don, was going to walk with us to the next place where the pit stops were taking place. We shouldn't assume things, but we did. So that was our fault. But the lady that was running the counter was very upset that there was nobody to walk with us. And she was nervous. Like, you cannot walk there. It's dangerous. Like, I don't want you to get run over. And she, I don't know her words, but she was very anxious. Like, maybe she's just an anxious person in general. But at some point, we both said, you know, it's all right. Like, this is what we're used to. We've done this our whole lives. And she goes, oh my gosh, that's so, I don't know if the word was sad or terrible, or her words were saying, that's a tragedy. Like, oh my gosh, this is awful. That's not what we were trying to convey. Like, we were trying to put her at ease. Like, it's all right, you know, like, we were used to walking places and confusing situations. You know, we're used to that. It's okay. But she just was like devastated that this was happening. So this is your ableism. It's like, that's a tragedy. Like, it would be so tragic if you couldn't find your way these places and blah, blah, blah. Like, it was terrible. And then she was like, well, I don't want you walking down there. And they're just driving and looking at the buildings. She never said that we were going to get to see anything. And when we got there, we missed the pit stop practice. It was pretty much done. And I believe it was Josh who actually came to get us, which was nice of him. But the lady, her attitude was like, there's nothing else for you to see. I think she actually did make that statement. Like, she said, they're just driving around to look at all the buildings, and there's not really anything else to see. If I had listened to her, one, it was only, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours into the tour. So I would have missed a whole hour. But also, I would have missed a lot of stuff, you guys. Because after she finally called, I think she actually drove us. I don't know who took over her spot, but she actually may have been the one to drive us. Yes, she did. She drove us to where we were meeting the group. And Josh came out to get us and took us to where pit stop practice was happening, even though it was over. So we did get there. And even though we missed pit stop practice, that is where I got to touch the lug nut, the new lug nut, and the little pegs that it mounts on and all of that. And if I had listened to her, not only would I missed doing that, but also I would have missed the engine shop, the entire engine shop, because it was Josh actually who drove us from the cup shops down to the engine shop, which was way too much information over my head. Like, my head was like, I'm gonna explode. It was fascinating, but it was way too, like, I am not an engineer. It was really interesting, but I couldn't tell you what I learned. But in this area, I got to touch several of the engines, the old restrictor plate, the new, like, well, a lot of people I know still call it a restrictor plate, but it does look quite a bit different. It's smaller, it's thicker, they call it a tapered spacer. Most people I know still call it a restrictor plate, but they're not the engineers, so I'll listen to this guy and say that it's different. I don't know. I don't know anything about cars. I'm not an engineer. Take his word for it. It does look quite a bit different in my opinion, so maybe it's not the same thing. But it kind of, I guess, does the same, like, it sort of sounds like it does the same thing. But I got to touch those. I got to touch basically the entire engine and all of its components. It was pretty cool. And multiple ones, like one of the ones, I don't think I was supposed to touch this one, but it was one of the ones that they actually raced. It was pretty cool. Maybe it was an older one that they didn't race anymore. Maybe it was just display. But either way, it was pretty cool. And then at the end, the nice man who is a freaking genius, but he's super passionate about his engineer job, building engines and all that. He knew so much stuff. He was the tour guide for that section. He drove us back to the gift shop where we got our Uber. So overall, the people there, they're very, very nice people. But the answer is no. If you want any kind of accommodation, the answer is no. I honestly don't even know if there is a ramp into the building we went with the stairs that go down. I didn't ask. I should, but I didn't. But the answer is no. So this is where Josh comes in. I think it's the same Josh that I talked to, and I don't remember his title, but he was basically like the manager of the museum. So he said, when I called, he said, we can't give you a guide. We don't have enough staff, which I get that. After being there, I don't necessarily believe him on the number of staff, but he said they don't have enough staff. So, okay, it's a legitimate excuse, I guess, especially nowadays. He said he couldn't give me a free ticket if I brought a friend to help me. He said they couldn't do that. They couldn't get anybody to meet our Uber. They ended up having to do that anyways. So the answer is no. Anytime you ask them if they can do anything, the answer is no. Other than the two ladies, all of the guys that worked there or hang out there were very nice people. Josh was nice. Even though the answer was no, he was nice. Matt, I think it was Matt. It might be Matthew. No, I'm pretty sure it was Matt. He was very nice, in addition to being a freaking genius. But then I would say anybody who works in that area is a genius, because they're so much smarter than me. He was nice. Don, I don't know if Don actually works there. He called himself a hanger-on, so whatever happens. Chocolate Myers was nice. Everybody was nice except those two ladies, and it's not even that they weren't nice. They were probably very nice people. Well, I don't know about the lady in the morning. That lady was just rude all around. The lady in the gift shop was probably very nice, but she was very stressed out by the fact that we were there. So, overall, it was very interesting. If you want to do it, though, as a blind person, bring someone who can take pictures if that's important to you, because there's not time when you're doing the tour to get pictures of everything. And when you come back after, obviously, they're not set up to take your picture for you. So if you want pictures, you got to bring someone who can do that. And it's after. The only place you can take pictures, like most race shops, you can't take pictures in the race shop. So you can do, I'm assuming, although I didn't ask because I missed it, I'm assuming that you can do pit stop practice, but I don't know. The only place I know for sure where pictures are allowed is the museum, but it's huge. So that's a lot of pictures if you go back through after the tour is done. So it's worth it, but bring someone, because the answer is no to everything. They're not going to wait for you if you have to stop to look at something, like when I was touching the tires or the engines. They're not waiting. So you're going to miss stuff if it takes you, if you really want to thoroughly check it out, you're going to miss stuff. And I'm okay with that personally, because I know that it takes a long time. Like, you sideys out there. Yep, sometimes I do that. You guys can look at it and see exactly, it doesn't take you but a few seconds to look at it and see everything that's there. I gotta touch it all, so it's gonna take me a longer time. So I'm okay with the fact that they want to move on, because everybody's gonna get bored when I'm the only blind person on this thing. Otherwise, they're just standing there staring at me, looking at this thing. I don't want them to do that either. So I'm okay with that. But, like, if we stopped to go to the bathroom, my friend and I, and everybody left us. So that's why the anxious lady was in charge of getting us where we needed to go. But we waited a long time for her. A long time. Like, that's why we missed the whole pit stop practice. Because not only did she have to find someone, but then she had to find someone to do her job while she was taking us. So it was not fun. But the attitude from those two ladies was what I call the typical NASCAR person. And the reason I say that is because it's a fan attitude. Like, when I first got on Twitter, y'all, everybody's like, they were freaking out. They're like, why is this blind lady watching this visual sport? Like, they couldn't fathom why I would like it. So this was very long, and it's not going to be edited because I don't have an editor yet. So I am sorry, but there it is. Probably should have started out with the good stuff first. And I did in my original, but then it deleted me, so I had to start over. So here we are. I say that it's totally worth the $55 for the tour. If you are blind and you're not coming with anyone, it is not worth the hassle of doing Uber to figure out where the heck you are and deal with the go home attitude. The first lady we met, literally, her attitude was quite obvious. I mean, if it had been up to her, I'm pretty sure she would have put us back in the Uber and sent us home with no tour, nothing. That was her attitude. And I'm sorry, but that's not acceptable. Even if you're not blind, that's not acceptable. So that's my experience. The tour is worth it. But definitely bring a sighted friend. Because it's just, then you don't have to deal with her. You still might not know what building you're going to, but you don't have to deal with her. Or the lady that was freaking out because we had to walk on the road. That's an empty road, y'all. I don't deal well with parking lots personally as a blind person. I don't like to navigate them. But it's an empty parking lot and an empty road. Like, nobody's going to run over us. Seriously, like, they would have seen us long before anything bad happened. I don't know. Overall, I was very frustrated with those two people. I have never had anybody who actually, like, really didn't want to deal with me enough that she wanted to send me home without a tour. Like, that was shocking to me. So that was my experience, though. Even the really nice people didn't really want to be doing what they were doing. I feel like Don may have been the only one. I don't know if he wanted to do it or not, but he didn't have that attitude like, I don't really want to do this. The rest of them were very nice. Like, Josh was nice, but I still kind of felt like we were inconveniencing him. He didn't say that. And I personally don't feel like he made us feel that way. But he was the one who said they couldn't provide squat. And then he ended up staying with the tour group when we went through the whole engine shop. So in my head, I'm like, well, why can't you, if you're able to stay with this group for this tour, why couldn't you have you're the manager, so why couldn't you have just said, this is what we're doing. I'm going to take this group and walk with them so that they can get to all these places. Obviously, he had time to stay with the group, so he wasn't like, there wasn't anything pressing that he had to get back to. I don't understand. I don't know. There's probably something happening behind the scenes that I'm missing, or maybe I'm just making excuses because he seemed like a nice person. But his answer was still no. So I think Matt was the only one whose answers weren't no. But then I didn't have to ask him anything. We didn't ask for permission to touch the engines. I just did it. The only thing he asked if I could touch was the spacers for the engine. He asked if I could touch those. The rest of the stuff, he's just like, here, touch this. So I asked about the wheels because I wanted to see them. I've seen the 5-spoked one that they used to have, but I hadn't seen those. So that is my story. I'm tired and thirsty, so